Welcome to Mindful Moments. Nourish your mind on the go. This audio uses AI narration to present our original book analysis. Today we're tumbling down the rabbit hole with Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So we'll explore this fantastical world and its iconic characters and uncover the deeper themes that make this story resonate, really, across generations.
Yeah, it's incredible how Carroll captures that essence of childhood wonder and that feeling of experiencing the world for the first time. It's more than just a children's book. It's really a timeless journey into the power of imagination.
Yeah, and right from the start, we're drawn into Alice's world and she literally falls into it. It isn't just any fall, though. It's a descent through a rabbit hole lined with cupboards and bookshelves, where she finds a jar of marmalade and ponders the practicalities of falling downstairs. This blend of the ordinary and extraordinary really sets the stage for everything that follows.
It's like Carroll is inviting us to fall alongside Alice, to experience that disorientation and curiosity firsthand. Alice's reactions to these bizarre occurrences, they're so grounded in logic, even as she encounters the most nonsensical things. I think it's this juxtaposition that makes her such a compelling character.
Yeah, and take the shrinking and growing potions, for example. She carefully considers the drink me bottle and the eat me cake, trying to understand their effects with a childlike logic. That's both endearing and thought-provoking.
Yeah, and these moments aren't just whimsical. They also tap into a deeper theme of Alice's constantly shifting sense of self. Like a child navigating a world that feels too big or too small at times. Her physical transformations mirror her emotional and intellectual journey.
Speaking of peculiar encounters, Alice's journey takes an even stranger turn when she crosses paths with the White Rabbit, a rabbit with a pocket watch, always rushing, always late. Who could forget him?
Right, but he's more than just a quirky character. His mistaking Alice for his housemaid Marianne, sets a chain of events in motion that propels her deeper into Wonderland. It highlights how seemingly small actions can have significant and often unexpected consequences.
And from there, it's one bizarre encounter after another. The chaotic scene in the Duchess's kitchen, with pepper flying everywhere, is a prime example.
It's not just chaos, though. The Duchess, with her obsession with finding morals in everything, offers a satirical look at how we try to impose meaning and order onto a world that is often inherently absurd.
And then there's the Cheshire Cat, grinning mischievously, adding to the absurdity with his cryptic pronouncements.
Oh, yeah. I find the Cheshire Cat particularly fascinating. While he acts as a guide for Alice, his guidance is often shrouded in riddles and ambiguity. He challenges her perceptions and forces her to question what she believes to be true.
While I see your point about him being a guide, I also find him somewhat unsettling. His appearances and disappearances, that ever-present grin, it all adds to Alice's confusion, rather than offering any clarity.
That's a valid interpretation. He's a complex character who embodies the duality of Wonderland, alluring and unsettling, helpful and confusing. Speaking of confusing, we can't forget the Mad Tea Party.
The Mad Hatter, the March Hare, and the Dormouse. This trio really embodies that concept of madness in a way that goes beyond just being silly.
Exactly, their nonsensical conversation, filled with riddles and wordplay. It isn't just random absurdity, it challenges the conventions of polite conversation and highlights the arbitrariness of social rules and expectations.
It's like Carroll is suggesting that the rules we often take for granted are just as illogical as the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. And this theme of distorted reality is further emphasized when Alice encounters the Queen of Hearts and her croquet game.
Flamingos for mallets, hedgehogs for balls, and the Queen's constant threats of off with their heads. It's a brilliant satire of absolute power and the capriciousness of those in authority. Yeah, it's a world where the rules are constantly changing, much like the way children experience the world, as they try to make sense of adult behavior and expectations.
Yeah, it makes me think about how often we as adults impose rules and expectations on children that might seem just as arbitrary and nonsensical to them as the Queen's decrees.
Absolutely, Carroll was a master of satire, and his portrayal of the Queen of Hearts is a prime example. He exposes the absurdity of unchecked power and the illogical nature of rules that are enforced without reason.
Alice's reactions to the Queen's tyranny are particularly interesting. Despite feeling small and powerless in this situation, she still manages to push back against the absurdity of it all. I think it's this inner strength and sense of justice that makes her such a relatable and inspiring character.
And it's that contrast between the fantastical elements of Wonderland and Alice's grounded human responses that makes the story so enduring, I think. It appeals to both children and adults on different levels. Children might be captivated by the talking animals and nonsensical situations, while adults can appreciate the subtle social commentary and psychological insights.
It's also a book that stays with you, long after you finish reading it. The characters, like the White Rabbit, the Mad Hatter, and the Cheshire Cat, they become iconic figures in our culture, representing the whimsical and the absurd.
And their words often become ingrained in our minds. Like the Duchess's famous line, "Everything's got a moral if only you can find it," or the Cheshire Cat's chilling statement, "We're all mad here."
Those lines are so quotable because they capture the essence of the book. Its playful yet thought-provoking nature. It invites us to look beyond the surface and consider the deeper meaning behind the seemingly nonsensical.
And this brings us to the Mock Turtle and the Griffin, two of the most melancholic characters in Wonderland. They're tales of a bizarre underwater education, where lessons include reeling and writhing, and mystery, ancient and modern, are particularly fascinating.
It's as if Carroll is poking fun at the rigidity, and often nonsensical nature, of the Victorian education system. He takes real subjects and twists them into these absurd lessons, highlighting the disconnect between what is taught and what is actually learned.
What's interesting about the Mock Turtle and the Griffin is how they represent a different kind of madness, their sadness and longing for the past. Contrast with the manic energy of the Mad Hatter and the March Hare, it suggests that there are different ways to be mad, or different ways to deviate from societal norms.
And even within their melancholy, there's a certain charm to their stories. The Lobster Quadrille, for example, with its nonsensical verses and absurd imagery, is both hilarious and strangely moving.
Carroll had a unique ability to blend humor and pathos, creating characters and situations that are both absurd and strangely relatable. It's this ability that makes Alice's Adventures in Wonderland such a rich and multi-layered work of art.
This deep dive has only scratched the surface of what this classic tale has to offer. We've explored the whimsical characters, the nonsensical situations, and the deeper themes of identity, power, and societal expectations.
But there's so much more to discover within the pages of this book. It's a story that continues to resonate with readers of all ages, inviting us to question our perceptions, embrace the absurd, and never lose that childlike sense of wonder.
So if you haven't already taken a trip down the rabbit hole yourself, we highly encourage you to do so. Pick up a copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and experience the full magic and absurdity of Carroll's creation firsthand. You might be surprised at what you discover along the way.
And if you're looking for more deep dives into literary classics and other fascinating topics, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We release new episodes of Mindful Moments every week, so there's always something new to explore and learn.
You can purchase a copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland using the link provided in the show notes. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join us on this journey of lifelong learning and discovery.
Until next time, keep nourishing your mind and embracing the wonder of the world around you.
Yeah, it really is a book that you can enjoy on so many different levels. And I think that's part of what makes it a true classic, It speaks to something universal about the human experience, really, regardless of age or background.
It really does. What stands out to you as the most powerful element of the story? Is it Alice's journey of self-discovery, the social commentary, or simply the pure escapism of it all?
For me, it's the way Carroll captures that feeling of childhood wonder and the power of imagination, that sense of possibility and the belief that anything can happen. As adults, we often lose sight of that. We get bogged down in the rules and routines of everyday life. But Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, it reminds us to embrace the absurd, to question the things we take for granted, and to never stop exploring the world with a sense of curiosity and wonder.
That's beautifully said. I think it speaks to the enduring appeal of this story. It's a reminder that even in a world that often feels chaotic and nonsensical, there's still room for magic and imagination.
Exactly, and sometimes a little bit of madness is exactly what we need to shake things up and see the world from a fresh perspective. So to our listeners, if you're looking for a journey that will challenge your perceptions, make you laugh, and perhaps even reawaken your inner child, we urge you to dive into Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
You can purchase a copy using the link provided in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to subscribe to our channel. For more insightful explorations of literature and beyond, we release new episodes of Mindful Moments every week.
Until next time, keep nourishing your mind. And remember, sometimes the best adventures are the ones that lead us down the rabbit hole